this January 26, 2020-21 closed session of the Hemet City Council.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Lilienthal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mills.
Here.
Mayor Meyer.
Here.
For the record, Mayor, all present. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we would like to invite the members of the public who come to comment on the items appearing on the agenda. Do we have any public comments tonight?
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, we received a comment email, and it's from Ms. Masingo, and she states, good afternoon, members of the City Council. I have a question that I would like to read into the minutes of the council meeting for this evening. As an attorney, I am confused and questioning as to the legal interest of Hemet City having any interest onto a personal legal case of one of our City Council members. When reviewing the petition submitted to the court, I do not see any mention of Hemet being either a claimant nor the defendant. Please explain our interest in why we would need to take up the city's time and or money discussing his personal business. It seems to me to be an infringement on his personal life. Submitted by Denny Antoinette Mazingo, Squire, Hemet, California. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no other comments?
There is not any other additional comments, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. Before we go into closed session,
We do not have any. Excuse me, Mayor. We do not have anyone on the line either.
Okay. And no one in person?
There is no one in person. I'm sorry. Ms. McPherson, is that you? Okay. Please step up, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is the mic on? Okay, my name is Judith McPherson, and I just am asking for a point of clarification regarding item 4C. It says conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision 3 of Government Code 54956.9. And I have the text of Government Code 54956.9, and it has, from what I'm reading in outline form, paragraphs A, B, C, D, and E, and some with some numbered subsections underneath. Could you clarify which one of those that is? I've never seen a paragraph number and then a subdivision also with a numeral.
Mr. City Attorney.
Mayor, would you like me to address that?
Yes, could you address that, please, if you can?
Sure. So the language used on the agenda is the language that's provided under the Brown Act Safe Harbor provisions, and it relates to existing facts and circumstances, which in the opinion of the agency, there's significant exposure to litigation against the agency. Thank you.
All right. Before we go into closed session, does any council member have a recusal that they would like to announce?
Yes. I would like to recuse myself from 4D.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll recess into closed session, and we'll convene back in here at 7. All right, I call to order the regular meeting of the Hemet City Council. This is January 26, 2021. Can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Lilienthal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mills.
Here.
Mayor Meyer.
Here.
For the record, Mayor, all present.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we're going to have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Our invocation is going to be led by Pastor Bob Beckett from the Dwelling Place City Church, and he's also one of the Hemet Police Department's chaplains. And then followed by Mary from the Interfaith Council. Please stand. And Councilmember Russ Brown will be leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
you call for one of them? Invocation first. Okay. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come together on behalf of our community. We ask for your wisdom and guidance for the council, that they be able to make the decisions that are necessary to serve the people, particularly in the difficult times that are physical as well as emotional. And we just ask for your wisdom and counsel for this council as they make the decisions that are so crucial to the future of this community. We love this community, and we stand in behalf of this community and support our city council. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. I'm Mary Rysdale. I'm with the Interfaith Council. O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees, and render this just government victorious. Confirm this revered nation to upraise the standard of the oneness of humanity, to promulgate the most great peace, to become thereby most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowal. Abdullah.
Please remain standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item 10 on the agenda is City Attorney Closed Session Report. If you would like to report out of our closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. For item 4A, we have no reportable action. For item 4B, settlement direction was given by a vote of 5-0. For item 4C, no reportable action. For item 4D, no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 11, we have communication from the public. Anyone that wishes to speak and have public comment, we ask that you fill out a form. I do have a stack here. First, we will take anyone joining us via teleconference. Do we have anyone on the teleconference line?
If there's someone online that would like to speak or address the mayor and council, please do so at this time.
All right, seeing that we have none, do we have any e-comments to be read?
We do, Madam Mayor. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, we received 2 public comment forms, one from Ann Smith, and she states that has a question regarding the cost of the software for the ERB, Eden Financial Software, in the amount of $65,788, and she's asking if that has an annual cost and whether or not it includes any software updates. She had 2 other comments, but those were addressed during the break, so she's fine with those. Moving on to the next one from Ms. Patricia N. Gregory. Ms. Gregory writes, "Good evening, Council. I'd like to ask several questions that I have been asking for months, and I will continue to ask this question until I can obtain a response. Why is there a $7 million difference between the actual ending balance of Measure U as of June 30th, 2020, and the beginning Measure U balance found on the budget as of July 1st, 2020? Both of these balances can be found on the city's own documents. Thank you very much, and I would like an answer forthcoming. Thank you."
Great. Now we will be giving 3 minutes to the people in the public that are here to speak. First, we have Ms. Howard. Is Ms. Howard? The next speaker will be Brett Long, and then Sal Gonzalez. If you guys want to be ready You can't hear me? Oh, boy. All right, Ms. Howard, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'd like to welcome the new council members. I look forward to working with you guys in the future and establishing a relationship with you guys. As you guys know, my coworkers here, we're here fighting for a fair contract. I couldn't imagine being here for 14 years without a raise. As you guys know, being a part of this team, I've had the pleasure of meeting some great men and women, and with so much heart and loyalty to this city. Being here for so long, you guys have a great group of people backing you guys up, and without us, you guys wouldn't be able to do your jobs efficiently, just like I wouldn't be able to do my job without them. I just look forward to working together and making the city of Hemet a better place that we know that it could be. And just remember that teamwork makes the dream work, and welcome aboard, and thank you for listening.
Next, we have Brett Long.
Good evening, council members, mayor. Again, I mean, obviously you guys have been seeing our group here. You know, it's been a long time, but it's kind of like the same song and dance, but it's not, because I just want to say, you know, we are making progress, and we appreciate that from you guys. 14 years, we've been without a raise. You guys, I'm sure that's embedded in the back of your guys' mind by now. But we're not trying to beat a dead horse, but, you know, it's changed even on our end. I mean, our group has gotten reunited, reorganized, and with the help of you guys, this particular council, in particular, you right here in front of us, you guys are the ones that have helped bridge the gap. I know city manager talks about bridging the gap. Well, same thing with our negotiations. I personally am on the negotiating team, have been on it for 7 years now, and this is honestly the best negotiation bargaining table that we've been able to meet to make a fair contract. You know, do we want more? Of course, but we also realize we got to be, both sides got to be realistic. So just want to say I appreciate you guys working with us. I know we're getting close, so hopefully it'll be soon, and we can start the new chapter with the new council and our new organized group as a SEIU, as an organized group. But thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Brett. Next, we have Sal Gonzalez.
Good evening, council, mayor. I just want to say, you guys know my name is Sal Gonzalez. Brett literally took all the words out of my mouth. We do want to say thank you guys for working with us. It's just over the last few months, over the last few meetings we've had, we've made great progress. We're not where we're at. You know, we're not where we want to be, but I feel new council coming in, you guys really kicked it in high gear. I appreciate all you guys, you know, hard work, everything you guys have done. I want to say, let's keep this momentum going. You know, it's good to see you guys out in the field, and I don't know, with everything going on, it's a whole new feeling outside. Everybody's more united, happy. So, on that note, thank you guys, and have a good night.
Next, we have TK Degadillo, followed by Karen Johnson.
Greetings and salutations, council members. My name is TK Delgadillo, and I'm the union representative for the wonderful, hardworking employees of the City of Hemet. It has been an honor to represent the City of Hemet employees. It has been a long road to get here,
and I would like to express gratitude to those of you on the dais who have heard the concerns and have expressed willingness to work with us and secure a fair contract. I look forward to continuing to work with the city, not only to take care of the hardworking folks who keep the city running and keep it beautiful, but to also service the great residents of this city. As somebody whose mother lives in this city, representing the great folks who keep it running has been not only a pleasure, but an honor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next we have Karen Johnson.
Good evening, council members. My name is Karen Johnson. I have worked at the Hemet Public Library now for 15 and a half years and enjoyed my job tremendously. I am glad that you guys are listening to our stories. You're listening to our concerns. I'm happy to say that I see that the negotiations are moving in a more positive light now. My hopes are for the future that future contracts will be met with that same positivity that we are now going through. Let's make Hemet great again. I love my community. I love servicing the community and the people who live here, friends, family, neighbors, and I just hope that we continue down that positive light. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on, we're going to item number 12, public hearing. We have two items that are here. First, we have our program year 2020 community development block grant for the coronavirus.
Good evening, Mayor Meyer and council members. Veronica Allen from Finance to speak on the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Round 3. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide the community an opportunity to express their interest or concerns to the council in preparation for allocation of approximately $535,773 in Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus funding. This grant funding is to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus, and given the acronym of CDBG-CV. Information gathered will be summarized and incorporated into the city's 2020-21 Annual Action Plan Substantial Amendment Draft and the 2020-2025 Consolidated Plan Substantial Amendment Draft. To date, no written public comments have been received. In addition, Council is being asked to reactivate the CDBG-CV Ad Hoc Committee to serve in the selection process and funding recommendations of the eligible 2021 CDBG-CV3 applications. Application packets for the 2021 CDBG-CV funding year were available on the city's website with a due date of February 1st, 2021. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and open our public hearing. Do we have any comments in favor of or in opposition?
If there's anyone on the phone line that wishes to speak on this item, please do so now. You have 2 minutes to address the mayor and city council. Do we have anyone online to speak? I don't believe we have anyone, Mayor.
All right, and no e-comments, no members of the public?
We do not have additional comments.
Okay, I will close this public hearing. And we will bring it back to staff. Do we have any other items or to discuss? Council? Thank you. This is confusing.
This is additional CDBG-CV funding. There were 3 rounds.
Right.
The first round we received $542,000 something, and then round 2 we did not receive funding, and this is round 3 where we received $535,773. So this is additional monies.
Okay, say part of that again, because the ad hoc did distribute, what was, you said 573,000?
542.
Okay, so that's all taken care of.
Yes.
This is more money.
Yes.
Is it restricted to anything?
It's for coronavirus funding. It's to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus. Similar to the ad hoc committee that you and Councilmember Brown were on.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Okay, so we need to appoint 2 council members tonight for this committee. And I would recommend that Russ and I stay on this one since we did the first one and we know where it went and how we did it. You're on the other one, right? Well, you're on the other one. You two, who's on the other one? Joe and Malcolm. Yeah, so that's fine. So this is a different one. Mm-hmm. This is a different one. So yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good to me.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody good with that? Okay. So I don't think that we need to vote on this necessarily since I can just appoint, and so we'll appoint you two, and there we go. You have your Veronica, is that good?
That's good.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. All right, then we have our next item on the agenda is 12B. It's also a public hearing. Room City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. I will make this very nice and easy for all of you. This item is just a routine matter that needed to be listed on the public hearing as a matter of law and as a matter of formality. So the item before you is simply a correction of the index of the municipal code, how we index ordinances. For example, for years and years and years, Hemet has had a 4-digit index, and as I was conducting an audit of all the city records, starting with all permanent records, I discovered that the index for some reason had changed to a 7-digit code, which is really not a best practice as we as trained certified municipal clerks do. So to make a long story short, with this action, the council will be reverting back to the 4-digit code rather than a 7-digit code. And why is this important? This is important because when we send the ordinances to the codifier, they do have cross-references at the bottom of each page, which will then allow folks not only to do research, but all of us here to not only archive, but find records more expeditiously. Having said that, I communicated to folks who inquired about the action, and that's really why we're here, and it's just a simple correction of formality, and this needed to be on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. First, do we have any public comments that have been emailed or on teleconference?
We did have one from Ms. N. Smith. However, I was able to, so that we don't take the time of the council, I was able to work with her and address those comments beforehand. So to answer that question, Mayor, we do not have additional comments.
Okay, and do we have anyone in the public that would like to speak regarding this item? All right, I will close the public hearing. All right, any council members have any questions? All right, if you want to waive further readings of this article and introduce this by title only?
Correct.
Thank you.
We just did a motion and a second, Mayor. The item is for the council to waive further reading and introduce the ordinance on first reading, which will be coming back at the next meeting for second reading. And it is appropriate at this time, Mayor, to ask for a motion to move forward with this item.
All right, do we have a motion to waive the further reading? I'll move staff recommendation.
One second.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mills?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-0, Mayor. Thank you all.
Okay, we have nothing under receive and file, so next we have on the consent calendar. All consent calendar items will be acted upon by one single action of the City Council. unless requested for an individual council member to pull them for separate consideration. Does anyone have an item that they would like pulled? 14C, please. Okay, 14C. Any other items, anyone?
14B.
All right, item 14B. And does anyone else have any other items? And then can we get a motion for 14A?
Move approval of item 14A on the consent calendar.
All right, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nails?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion also carries 5-0, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next 14B. Councilmember Lilienthal?
Could we have someone answer Ann Smith's question about this? Is it the annual cost, and how much are the upgrades?
Can we have our Director of Finance just come up and give a...
Could you answer that, please?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the annual support services contract, so that when we have technical issues, questions, or anything like that, that we can reach out to our software provider. It includes any updates that they have, any fixes or anything like that, and they tend to have them several times a year, and that's all included in the price. The reason it's before you tonight is because it exceeds our signing authority.
65 is an annual cost?
Yes, and it covers financial, so all of our general accounting, fixed assets, payroll, human resources, and our utility billing module, as well as our business license module.
I've worked with many of these financial softwares. They come in modules, and each module is priced at a high price, especially when it's like a city environment or a law firm or something, and they are expensive. So I understand the pricing on this, and I think if we need it, we should go forward with it.
Do you have any other questions for anyone?
No, I don't have any more questions.
Right. Thank you. All right. Do we want to entertain a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to pass it.
All right. Second that. All right. We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call?
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mills?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
That motion also, Mayor, carries 5-0.
Okay. And then 14C. Yes. Thank you. Just like to say, I'm very happy this is finally coming to council for approval of this this parcel that we have had for many, many, many years, and that it will continue the process to eventually get to Habitat for Humanity so that they can build a couple homes on that location. My question and concern is the $6,000 appropriated for this. Does that include moving the bus stop from Mayberry to State Street? And if it does, I plan to talk to RTA because they usually do that on their own when there's an issue in a city.
Steve, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Could you
Okay.
provide the follow-up to Councilmember Krupa's question, please?
Sure. The statement about the relocation of the bus stop. I believe you are correct that RTA does do the relocation. The idea was to appropriate enough funds just in case there was some additional work. As you noticed here, we had some sidewalk to replace and some other ADA improvements. We wanted to make sure that we didn't have to go back to council again after in case there was additional costs. But yes, the intent would be to work with RTA to have them relocate the bus stop.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate that, and also appreciate the fact that you want to requisition enough money that the project will go through, and just in case if there's some overages on it. I am the incoming chair of RTA for this next year, and we have a meeting on Thursday. So I will bring this up to the CEO and the staff at RTA, and hopefully they may have to do some studying on that, because that particular bus route is a westbound on Mayberry, and to put the stop as a northbound on State Street may create some issues, so they're going to have to look at that and decide for themselves what the best location is. But I do appreciate you bringing this forward so that we can get a couple houses built on there for low-income housing. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure. I'm glad that you bring this forward.
And with that, if there's no other questions, I'll move approval. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal?
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa?
Yes.
Member Tim Mills?
Yes.
Mayor Meyer?
Yes.
The motion carries 5-0, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 15, discussion action items. First, we have council discussion regarding the City of Hemet accounting policies.
So, Mayor, I'd just like to provide a brief background and introduction on this item. As you know, the CAFR has included findings with respect to accounting policies. As a result of that, we have worked with the finance team to develop some solutions strictly for council conversation and discussion. I know that there's been a lot of conversation over the last year about how we might want to do things differently, so we really wanted to provide the opportunity for council to weigh in on those specific items and really have a policy level discussion on this item. We're not asking for approval. This is strictly a discussion and take direction from the council on this specific item. So with that being said, we have Loretta, our finance director, to provide the overview of this item.
Good evening again, Council. It is considered best practice to establish written policies for the finance and accounting functions of the city. Accounting policies act as a roadmap for the application of generally accepted accounting principles and remove variance in employee judgment. These serve as a guide for new and existing employees when determining how to best handle a transaction. As our city manager stated, for several years, our annual citywide financial audit has generated a finding from our auditors stating that during their review of the control environment, they noted that the city lacked formal policies and procedures. Although the city has had informal policies in place, the city should establish formal and comprehensive policies approved by the City Council to provide detailed guidance to employees and management of the city. Finance staff has worked toward those policies. The attached policies include a comprehensive policy that addresses all aspects of the accounting and finance functions of the city, as well as some standalone policies such as petty cash and the usage of city credit cards. Finance has worked diligently with the city's auditors to show progress toward clearing the above-mentioned finding for the city's annual financial statements. Desk procedures have been completed for all finance staff in the general accounting area. And based on council direction and discussion, staff brings forward this version for review so that it can be looked at and approved, hopefully, at a subsequent meeting.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from council? Questions, comments? All right, I'll go first. This is good. We definitely need some accounting policies here. I think that the Poon Group has talked to us, like you said, about our procedures and our policies. So at a council level, we will set the policies. There may be some procedures that are in here. I noticed names, and we definitely don't want to have names in our policy book. It may be in the procedures for the time because, procedures change as the organization changes, right?
Correct.
So if you want us to end up blessing your procedures, then, we could do that too. I think at this point, we have a good start. I think we need to figure out how the treasurer fits into our finance department, since that all works hand in hand. But I don't know, city attorney, do you have any comments, or we would like for you to go over this too as well?
Certainly, and I'll definitely be working with staff on implementing the council's direction insofar as they need assistance on the language of the edits. Speaking just briefly about what the mayor just mentioned, I have been working with the treasurer and the city manager's office on bringing forward some additional ordinances addressing the city treasurer and the interaction between the city treasurer and the finance department. And those ordinances do contemplate policies being in place, such as the ones that are being discussed here this evening.
Perfect. And when I was doing some research on, I just can't believe, I don't know how we've existed since 1910, but I was doing some research on other cities, and they actually have ordinances addressing their policies for their finance department and different departments. And so I was surprised to find that ours doesn't have any. So this is excellent. Thank you. So I would keep working. I would work with our attorney. We'll work together on folding it in and, making it. Everyone's policy will end up in a large policy manual, I would assume, right, at the end of the day. So I don't know that you would have to define the council or the city manager roles in this policy necessarily. I noticed that was in the beginning, but I understand the point of what you were doing. We don't want to have to go back and change their throughout. We've had some older experiences with documents that are older. Yes, Russ.
I do have one comment. Just looking at the section on credit card use, it's been a long time since we've had an opportunity to attend conferences physically. Everything has been by Zoom meeting. But at some point, hopefully, in our lifetime, we emerge out of this and we're able to resume business as usual. So I just think it would be in our best interest that we revisit this at the point that we emerge out of the restrictions and we have staff and council members starting to go to conferences. Revisit this and update and reminder that we follow the policy when we go to those events.
Yes, and the credit card policy was actually approved several years ago. So we included it in here because we think it's important that it's part of the comprehensive policy, the entire package. But it was approved years ago. And so what I normally do is when I have a new account holder, when the card comes in, and I think our two new members of council can attest to this, that I provide them a copy of that policy that states what it can and can't be used for. I think beyond that, though, that we need to have kind of a helpful quick tip sheet. I don't want to call it a cheat sheet because it's not, but quick tips of
a refresher.
This is really what you can and cannot use the card for. This is what it's appropriate for. This is what it's not appropriate for, and so that people have that kind of quick, easy access when they are issued a card in their name.
And that's why I gave it back. Because it wasn't spelled out.
Exactly.
I will make note of that.
Is it possible to, in the policy, that you add some kind of, okay, so when you move money somewhere, that you have to specify that almost like a pop-up box happens, and then you have to say the reason why.
Do you mean when funds are moved from one account to another?
Yeah. Because like some people say, like, there's it on one spreadsheet it says $7 million, but then you look down the line somewhere and then it says 11 million, or it says 5 million, and people are like, where did the 2 million go? Where did the such and such million go? it's almost like we could explain it, but my question is, how come it never gets explained? It's almost like whoever's moving it is assuming that we're all going to know why it was moved. So is it possible that it could be spelled out, not every transaction, but some kind of major transaction where it's like, this is why we did this, an asterisk or something?
And that's what we do try to do anytime that an entry is made into our financial software. When we receive money, like for example when our property tax payments come in, we always state what fiscal year it belongs to, which payment it is, because the county has this very fancy way of numbering them, and they call them secured settlements. So they title them SS1 as secured settlement payment 1, and then SS2 comes after the April payment, and so on. And so we try to include that kind of information. So usually there's an answer to why things are done. There's always an answer to why. It's just you have to ask the question. And I'm always open to questions. You can always drop by my office, email, call me. Tiffany is our accounting manager, and she is open to any questions also. She is the one that primarily manages all of our accounting right now. And anytime you have questions like that, we can answer them for you.
I'm going to add some commentary here too. Our finance staff does an incredible job with everything that they do day in and day out. One of the things that, for me personally, what I always encourage on the staff is, how can we make things better? How can we try and address questions before they come up? So one of the things that we are working on, and Lorena's really taken a lead, is we know some of these questions that come out in the public. We know these things that happen pretty frequently. So what we're trying to do is we've got a list, I know Lorena's got a list, of some of these items that are always on the radar of some people. So what we're striving to do is prepare kind of addressing those questions before they ever come up. So we are working through some of those items. It is going to take some time. I know that one item, for instance, is when we have unaudited numbers that float around. We know that unaudited numbers are subject to change. That's why they're unaudited. So we're working through some of those ways on how we can improve our systems moving forward. But I do hear those questions. I do hear them from the public, and it is something that we're looking at, try and providing the most transparent and easiest path for the public and the council to follow as well. So that is on our radar as well.
Okay. Because it's just, I don't think it's very respectful to the public if they keep bringing up the same thing over and over again, and it's something like either we're either not addressing it or the person's not asking the right questions, whatever that looks like. So that's what I'm kind of speaking towards. I'm not trying to say someone's not doing a good job. I just like to see something where people don't have to ask these questions because the numbers tell the story.
Yes, and along those same lines, we need to have some sort of policy that all budget adjustments are approved by council. I think we talked about that like November. We need to make sure that that's added in here, just so that the documentation that you're talking about is there. So if somebody goes through, I think we make our adjustments, certain times a year, so we can pull that meeting, and then everything will add up.
So one thing that we have talked about, and it's a nuanced, I'll call it an opportunity to improve it, is historically, I also brought this up last year, is historically the city has rollover purchase orders, carryover purchase orders, and so at some point when the council adopts the budget and those previously approved, whether they're purchase orders or contracts, don't get finished in that fiscal year, they get rolled over into the subsequent fiscal year. Now, the council had previously approved those in a previous budget year, but what we can do and what we're looking at, what we can do to improve that is how can we show what the budget adjustments were that the council adopted and what were the carryovers from the previous year that were already approved by council, but the project just didn't get finished in that fiscal year. So we're working on how we can clearly articulate that so that the public doesn't question whether the staff is adding new money to the budget, which is not allowable for us to do that. So we're working on how we can clearly articulate that, and I know that Lorena's taken the lead on that for mid-year. And so we're taking the first stab when we have our mid-year adjustments, and just hopefully by February 1st, the first meeting in February, we'll have that for the council so that you can clearly see the difference in what we're doing on a go-forward basis. So we are planning on making some changes in just a few weeks, assuming that we're able to get to the mid-year, the first meeting in February. So hopefully in just a few weeks you'll start seeing some of those changes.
Thank you for all you do.
Okay, Council.
Thank you. Okay, then we have our virus update.
Thank you, Mayor. So, as you know, the council requested that there be a recurring discussion and input overview of any updates with respect to COVID since 2020, the beginning of 2020. Since our last council meeting, we have taken a few notable steps. I did provide an overview to the council that we were planning on opening the parks. I'm proud to report that we did open the parks last Thursday. There are a couple parks prior to opening them up. We did an assessment of the equipment to make sure that it was in good functional condition and we weren't going to have any issues with things not working. So we did do an audit of all of our systems. There are a few pieces of equipment that have not been repaired because we are waiting on parts. But the balance of the parks that were in good working condition, no issues, have been reopened. In addition to that, the county fire chief did reopen Simpson Park. And so as a result, we have had our security firm that goes back and forth, opens the park and closes the park. So that is available for the public. Those are the most notable updates. Governor Newsom did lift or go back to the tier system with respect to the reopening, and so we are working through that as well. So that concludes my most recent and notable updates for COVID-19, Mayor. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, moving on to council reports. First, we have Councilmember Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On the Council Protocols Ad Hoc Committee, we did have a Zoom conference with Councilmember Krupa and our city attorney representative, and we've concluded going through the updates and revisions, and we're just waiting for a new, fresh revision copy that we'll be bringing forward to the full council for a study session probably next month. And just a correction, I think, and I've already spoken with our city clerk on this, the banking RFP ad hoc committee, it shows me as an alternate. I think that's actually Councilmember Lilienthal is the alternate to that, and city clerk's already made that correction. The WCE, Western Community Energy, did meet last Wednesday. A couple of notable items since it was the beginning of a new calendar year. The board selected Director Todd Ridby from Eastvale to serve as chair, and Ted Hoffman from the city of Norco will serve as vice chair. And we thank Ben Benoit for his shepherding of the new WCE board from its outset, and he's stepping away from that role. But we're in good hands with Todd Rigby and Ted Hoffman. One of the things that was most discussed, and this is impacting all utility service providers, is the COVID situation and people that, because of the moratorium on action taken to cut people's services off, what the impact that that's having on the revenue stream for those utilities, and WCE is not immune to that either. So there was a lot of discussion about options that are available to customers, and during their discussion, I made a recommendation that the WCE website be updated with some easy to find and access links to all the different programs that are available. Like all government agencies, they all have acronyms, but there's one that's an arrearage management plan that's called AMP, and then there's low-income home energy assistance program that can provide support to customers in the short term. And so those will be appearing on the WCE website once it's, and it might even be up now. And staff did present a variety of options, and the board did approve providing a $25 customer credit to all arrearage management plan eligible customers. So just as an additional incentive to get them enrolled in some kind of a program so that when the COVID moratorium is lifted, people don't find themselves suddenly find themselves cut off from their services. So that was the majority of the discussion that took place in that meeting. And the following day, I participated in a Zoom meeting with my Cal Cities Public Safety Policy Committee, and a number of bills were proposed that the policy committee will be looking at going forward to take a position either in support of or non-support or no opinion. And a lot of those have to deal with police officer use of force and bail schedules and those kinds of things. So that was a lengthy but a productive policy committee meeting, and that's really all I have to report right now.
Excellent. Councilmember Krupa? Thank you. On most of these committees did not meet. However, on the League of California, Cal Cities, this year I'm on the Revenue and Taxation Policy Committee, and there's already a lot of speculation on how many new unfunded mandates are going to come out of Sacramento, so I think it's going to be a busy year all the way around. One of the, not necessarily related to this committee, but the chair of this policy committee is, I can't remember names, Lisa Middleton out of Palm Springs. She is also heading up a subcommittee to deal with local control of speed limit setting on local streets. So I am going to be working with her on that. Could not convince Cal Cities that this should be one of the bullet points, because to me it's an attainable item in 1 year of legislation. And they're looking at really the big ticket items, the wildfires and housing and all of these things. And it's like, why don't we just take a little bite and get rid of it? So we're going to push that one forward and see if we can get it going. And I think we've got some pretty good leverage coming forward. Because the state representative from CTC is a female that used to be with Caltrans, but also has vast experience in New York and New Jersey on bringing these types of ordinances through so that local communities can make up their own minds on how they want to quiet traffic on their streets.
Before you go on, can I ask a question? Are they talking about the 85th percentile?
Going away.
Long overdue.
Going away.
Let's stay in touch on that, because that's something that I could maybe bring through public safety as well.
Exactly. Good point. Okay. Riverside County Transportation Commission was actually the subcommittee on projects and programs was Monday. They did release a new video on the drone flying over the work that's going on this Highway 60 through the Badlands. We also approved maintenance for all of the Metrolink stations and mobility centers throughout western Riverside County, and there's a lot of them. I mean, this was a multi-million-dollar package for maintenance and painting and all of those good things. And also talked about the opening in the next month or so of the what do they call them? The fast track lanes on Interstate 15. And when that does come about and they get it synced with the fast track on the 91, a new program is going to be established called Riverside Express, and that will allow you to just have one transponder on your car for both the 15 and the 91. So you won't have to keep changing, and then hopefully we can pull the 60 into it and the 10 and all of those others, and you can just have a little microdot on your windshield or someplace, and you get charged for driving in those fast lanes. And that is, RTA is Thursday, and that is all I have. Thank you. Councilmember Lilienthal.
When it comes to the deal with the skate park, we met, they had a Zoom meeting on January 19th, and from 6 to 7, and it was this whole discussion about what it's going to look like. And so they have like 3 different plans that they're looking at right now. I have a link that I'm going to put on my face page, and I'm going to see if I can get on the Hemet's face page. So when you click on this link, what happens is you get to go through a survey and kind of pick one of the 3 plans that you like, and I think you can add your comments and things like that. But what I keep hearing from some of the members of the public is that when this is built, they're not necessarily worried about the graffiti. They're worried about, will the kids be safe? Like how do we protect them from drugs, the sales of drugs, being bullied, things like that. Like, what are we going to do? And so the next time they meet, I think we're going to have a discussion about that, because there are a lot of, it's mostly the mothers who are worried about their babies going out there and being, so, it's like we can't control the language the kids are using. There's a lot of things, variables that we can't control that they're just exposed to just in regular school. And so I guess bring some certainty to some of these mothers out here on what's going to happen when their kid goes to use the park. When it comes to the vision and mission, we'll address that after, because we have a meeting we're gonna handle that, and so that's to be determined.
Friday.
And then Friday. And then last is the community outreach. I'm thinking on Monday, we might handle that meeting on Mondays. But I think what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to really get into the nitty-gritty on the organization of it. And so that's pretty much all I have right now.
We have Pro Tem Mills.
Good evening. I've had multiple meetings ever since I started, so I'm kind of up to here with meetings. But we had a pretty good, important meeting today with CDBG ad hoc committee with Veronica, and we went over all the programs that through federal fundings, the city's entitlements, and basically found out that we were under $1 million, $922,109 available for the CDBG fund. And then, we have 20 participants that want to get a loan or get funded through the CDBG, and right now we're in the process of choosing them, which ones we're going to fund or how we're going to distribute the money towards them. So we'll be meeting again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Myself and Malcolm will be meeting with Veronica again. I've also had a meeting today, both Malcolm and myself, with Officer Hall and another officer. I'm not sure. I know his first name's Joel, but I'm not sure what his last name is. And it was pretty interesting. One's, I guess, their psychiatric officer, and the other one's, they're not part of ROCKS, but they work with ROCKS alongside of them. So we learned some pretty interesting stuff today about what we can and what we can't do. So it was a good meeting. What else do we have? The planning committee. And, again, I've just been out there trying to talk to different businesses and different, and all the citizens out there to see, what we're working on. And I believe we're going to start an ad hoc committee also on this and break it down. So that'll be good, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
Excellent. All right, and then, let's see, our vision and mission statement ad hoc committee. So Malcolm and I finalized the paperwork for our meeting on Friday, and it'll be noticed tomorrow, and that will be our council priority sessions. We've put together, I can pass this out, can't I? We put this together, and don't laugh because it's essentially a blank document, but this is where we have to start. And so there's a little bit of preparation for our meeting on, and so you can just go through this, but we have to start somewhere. So if you guys go through the first few pages, I left yours on your desk, so if you can just do the last three, sorry. And then at the end of the document is the year in review that Chris put together so that you can have what we accomplished this last year. You have already received it prior, I believe, in council updates, but so that it's documented. That is what we have. So we will be having a special meeting Friday at 8 o'clock for our council priority sessions so that everyone knows. But there are blank tables in here for you to do all your brainstorming and bring to the meeting. Give a little time for homework. Sorry, guys. But since we can't do it ahead of time, we can't sit here and do it, and we can't violate the Brown Act. So this is just a worksheet for us to complete to bring to the meeting. So we'll have lots of papers and pens, and Kathy has us all set up at the library. So it'll be upstairs at the library, 8 to 12 on Friday. Okay, and then one more, before we get to ad hoc committees, I need to disband the Community Outreach Committee. It is awesome and it's a nice thought, but it's a lot of work for just one or two people. So we have, what I like to do is put together and I had talked to the attorney about some different alternatives so that if we have a Clean Streets team, like I was thinking Malcolm and Joe, that's what you guys are out doing. If you want to have a Clean Streets team, then you can be the ad hoc for this. We can work on the names at a later date, but you can address graffiti and trash and stuff. We need a business partners team, somebody who is communicating with our businesses. And I know that the council wants to be on the level of reaching out and involving our community. Joe is excited about being on this. Russ, I don't want to volunteer for you, but would you want to do that? Would you want to be on there? We're just breaking it up. If you don't want to do something, then just say no, but just say pass. But
I don't have.
We don't have a.
To do it, but I think.
Yeah, and it's mostly been Zoom.
Wouldn't this? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wouldn't this logically spin out of our meeting that we have Friday?
It will spin out. What I'm trying to do is, this is what they've been doing right now in the Community Outreach Committee, so I'm trying to break that up so that it's not, so that we don't have the Community Outreach Committee, because it's too much to see all these different topics. Like they have a team for youth. We've got neighborhood empowerment. We've got our homeless outreach, and it's too much just for two people. So I'm just trying to spread it out so that we can just ban this.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, or if you want to wait and defer it until Friday, it's not a big deal. I just want, there's some of these things that we can just flesh out and just say, but you can think about it and tell me on Friday.
I'll let you know for sure Friday, but
okay.
I'm not opposed to it.
We have youth youth mentorships, a team of people working with our youth. So I know that you were interested in that, Malcolm. Anybody else want to be on that? And again, I'm just trying to simplify the committee that has too much under one. Okay, homeless outreach. I want to be on that one. So anybody else?
I'll work with you on that because I'm the one that attends the Continuum of Care meetings and the Board of Governance meetings and all of the county meetings on homeless. And because I go to these meetings, the city of Hemet actually has a vote. But if I don't go, we don't have a vote. And if we miss 3 meetings in a row, we don't have a vote. So I am more than willing to help with you, help you on that.
Awesome. Perfect.
Malcolm, you're fired.
Malcolm was interested in being on that, but I think that if since this is an ad hoc committee, like if we are working on different policies, we can work, versus if Malcolm wants to go out on the street and do stuff. How does that work? How does that work?
If it's not something that we will eventually vote on as a council, why can't we talk about it if someone else?
Sure. So let's do a preface of, I've recently updated my Brown Act training, and if any of you want to subject yourselves to it, let me know.
We are mandated. We have to do the AB 1234, I think, before the end of February by law.
That's great. I also have that training recently updated. Just did it for another city council in Riverside County. Happy to work with the city manager's office to schedule that if that's something.
So much nicer to do it, to have a person do it than to fall asleep in front of a computer or answer the questions and then have to sit there for 2 hours because they won't let you go.
I can't promise it's engrossing, but I can promise no one fell asleep.
There you
the
go.
Last time I did it.
All we need. And our League of Cities is not until March, so if it's going to pass our deadline, then...
Well, it's ready to go, so we'll just set up a date when everyone wants to do it. But to answer your question, homelessness obviously is a matter within subject matter jurisdiction of the city. And so if we have 2 or more council members talking about it, then, or if more than 2 talking about it, we have to have an agendized meeting. If you set an ad hoc committee, which is what I believe the mayor is proposing, the 2 of you could regularly meet on that topic, but there's no need to have an agenda for it, right? So you 2 could just address those issues as a regular thing between the 2 of you. And it seems like that's what's being proposed.
I had a question. Does that mean that the community outreach committee is no longer existent?
Yes, because we're trying to get rid of because there's too many items on the agenda. And like Russ said, we can finalize this on Friday because there's a lot on here. The other one was neighborhood empowerment and the youth. So just throw that out there, write those down, and then we can finalize those on Friday. Because I really want people to do the things that they want to do and that they're passionate about. So, all right, that's all I have. City Manager Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no updates tonight.
After all that. All right. Do we have any future agenda items to add?
My future agenda item was AB 1234, but the city attorney has taken care of that.
Okay. And we have one item left for closed session. So at this time, we will recess into closed session. All right, we call this meeting back to order. City Attorney, would you like to report out of closed session?
There is no reportable action at this time, Madam Mayor.
Okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned.